Breaking news!
In a not too wild turn of events that everybody saw coming eventually, James Somerton has once again returned to the internet. With the help of internet sleuths, namely this thread by Lady Emily, aka the writer for fellow content creator Sarah Z, with this post, new information about James Somerton was unearthed in regards to his deeply unsettling note he posted shortly after his second apology video. The wild part, however, though, in my opinion, is the content he was apparently posting in secret while no one knew that this account was him.
One of life's great mysteries. Hey.
Hey there, I'm here to interrupt your regularly scheduled entertainment. As everyone who might have watched my previous video about James would know, shortly after his second apology video towards the people he plagiarized, James posted a deeply concerning farewell note to his, at the time, private Twitter account. He then proceeded to vanish from the internet, sparking a maelstrom of concerned and baffled onlookers, frantically trying to find out where he had recently moved to, different ways to contact him, and grief-strickenly were just trying to find out if he was alive and okay. Overall, it was not a great time for the community at large. At least it was not a great time for people who were actually decent human beings that were truly fearful that something could have happened to him. We had learned over the course of a couple of weeks through James's former friend Nick and H-Bomber Guy's producer Kat that James, at the very least, was alive and people in his real life were handling whatever aftermath of his behavior was, or at the very least, that's what everybody was led to believe. But through the course of everything happening with James in regards to his plagiarism being put on full blast, he was apparently actually behind the scenes doing quite a lot. As it turns out, James had made an alt account on Twitter around December of 2023, presumably shortly after the release of Harry's plagiarism in YouTube video. On this alt account, throughout the duration of the controversy that James was being criticized for, he was using the account to defend himself while pretending to be a random fan of his. This, of course, is shockingly common for creators to do when facing backlash over their actions, and honestly, I just don't know where people get the time and energy to do that. Maybe I'm just like a different breed of depressed lazy, I guess. This alt account started going through a variety of minor rebrands, landing on another Greek-themed username similarly to his rebranded YouTube channel. On this alt account, which has already been privated as of this video, which is quick considering this information was only just a couple of hours old, according to this thread by the time I was scripting this, it was posting a lot of sexual content through the duration in which James was supposedly deceased, or at the very least in the care of his loved ones who had stopped his attempt. Some of this sexual content was allegedly James's own nether regions, which is bold. Not sure the purpose of posting your genitals on Twitter personally, but what do I know? Some of you, baffled with mouth agape, might be wondering how Lady Emily, or whoever else was helping her, figured out that this alt account was James all along. Like the username might suggest, he made an Achillean mistake, an arrow to the heel, you could say, because James used the same exact name on his alt Twitter account for his TikTok account. And sure, the TikTok started as like an AI voice filter with a cartoon face emoji.
So as the tweet says, people have been pointing out that there is no heterosexual explanation for this image in the new X-Men series, and the straights have gotten their panties in a twist, being like, what do you have to make everything gay? It's because nothing's gay. We don't even get Iceman in this new series. Like, just give us this little bit of headcanon, for God's sake.
But even that apparently ended up being a little too much work for James because he just started posting his real face.
So I've seen it going around a lot, the thing on TikTok of, would a woman rather be trapped in the woods with a bear or a man she doesn't know, and always picking the bear, and a lot of men being like really butthurt about that. I just want to say, to add to that equation, as a gay man, bear jokes aside,
with like a bunch of filters slimming him down and smoothing his skin out and stuff like that, which doesn't really do much to hide his identity, but I can't really be too upset about TikTok filters because, you know, I use TikTok filters. I happen not to know anybody that doesn't use TikTok filters, really. Although, as a note for James and everybody else watching that uses TikTok filters, they work better when you take your glasses off. That's kind of why his filters are glitching out on him. Anyway, what do we do with this information now, you might be asking? Like, who the fuck cares that James is back, am I right? Well, viewers, this is entirely my opinion, so take it with whatever grain of salt that you want. I think it's moderately important to know that James is back online for like a couple of reasons. Firstly, despite any jokes that I insert within this video, because, I mean, we gotta have some laughter somewhere here in life, I guess, I do not want James to be hurt or dead in any manner. If you watched my first video on him, I was pretty in-depth about how I wanted him to get off social media and get the help that he needed for his mental health. Saying you were going to self-harm every time someone criticized you is not normal behavior, and I still do feel that he should be seeking serious psychiatric help for any mental health issues that he currently is suffering from. Even with the mindset that his self-harm claims could have been a manipulation tactic, again, doing that is not normal behavior either. I also agree with certain theories floating around the web that his self-harm note was most likely actually just scheduled way in advance. But how advanced is kind of the question we're having here. Assuming his tale of going to the hospital before his first apology video was real, he could have scheduled the post then and forgot about it. Finding your scheduled post on Twitter is actually notoriously difficult for no fucking reason, so he could have scheduled it to be released months later, actually realistically forgot about it at that point, or could just not have been able to backtrack to delete it because Twitter's shit interface is shit. But like people have commented on my previous James video, you know, my mindset is probably being a little too nice for him. But regardless, the collective relief that a lot of people are having now knowing 100% that James is alive and well is for the best, despite that relief slowly morphing into extreme anger over the fact that he has led everyone to believe that he hurt himself and did nothing to quell people's anxiety. Not even a simple, "I'm sorry, I'm okay, but I'm not going to be on this social media account any longer," or like any other post like that that could have helped. I understand everybody being pretty pissed off at him right now, beyond just the fact that he stole a bunch of content from people. That upset most likely got back to him pretty swiftly at this point, like I mentioned, because his alt Twitter account is already private at this point. But also, I can no longer find this TikTok account, so whoops again, I guess. Let me know if you guys can find it, because I've searched up both of like the usernames that were provided in this thread and I'm not finding anything personally. Now, beyond people just being able to breathe a sigh of relief for a second knowing that James is fine, comes another important reason why I think it's important to know that he is around: the ability to block him. Every content creator who has made gay video essay content or just gay content in general needs to block him whenever they find him in the wild. The less access he has to people's content, the less likely he'll be able to easily steal said content. Now, don't get me wrong, he's probably going to find loopholes and workarounds and everything like that to, you know, steal what he wants to steal, but, you know, precautions are precautions nonetheless. Despite his public-facing apology videos, both of which have been deleted at this point, if that tells you how sincere they were, we know from this alt account that he actually doesn't give a shit that he was harming other people and was going out of his way to argue with people over his actions. And if he does continue to steal people's content, knowing these new accounts will make it easier for the community at large to report his theft and inform those who have been stolen from. It's just rather unfortunate that even if he does try to make attempts to make content all on his own, like maybe daily life vlog stuff or anything like that, people are always going to be lurking, watching, waiting for him to slip up. I believe James should wait before coming back online, but in light of this new information showcasing him still not being able to take accountability for his actions, I don't really think any amount of waiting is actually going to work anymore. I mean, seriously, out of all of the internet controversy you can get in trouble for, why is it so hard for him to acknowledge his fault for this one in particular? People who have done far worse stuff than him are operating just fine online when they frankly should have probably been arrested for their behavior. It's honestly a little baffling to me, really. Anyway, be polite in the comments section with your thoughts. Any comments amounting to actually having wanted James to hurt himself will be promptly deleted, as they were in my other video. I don't have time for borderline psychopathic comments in my videos. Leave a like for the algorithm and subscribe if you haven't already. This video, like all of my content, is brought to you by Patreon, so thank you so much to Ippo, Alec, Ashley, and Mel for subscribing. If you want to support me on Patreon, tiers start as little as $1 a month. Links are in the description. This is Finn, signing off. Until next time.
Till I let go, I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold, 'cause I can't move on till I